5.6 goes over the law of cosines. Your law of cosines states that if you have a triangle that today we're going to be working with side, side, side triangles. So the ones that you have all three sides that you're finding the angles of. If you have any triangle where you have all three of those sides and you're asked to find the areas or to solve the triangle, given those three sides, you are going to use your law of cosines. Your law of cosines just says that when you have a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c cosine A, you can solve for the angle A. A good thing to remember with these is that what your equation is equal to, so the side length squared that the equation is equal to, is going to be the same cosine of the angle. So if it's equal to a squared, it's going to take the cosine of A. If you look in the middle, you have b squared is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine B. So b squared's on one side, you're going to take the cosine of B on the other. First, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2 times a times b cosine C. Same idea. If you have c squared on the one side of your equal sign, then you're going to take the cosine of C. When you are doing these, if you have that b squared plus c squared on the one side, it's going to be negative 2 times b times c. So it's pretty much what's on the outsides are the same, and then what's on the insides are going to be the same. So if we look at our example, it tells us that the sides of a triangle are A is equal to 5, B is equal to 8, and C is equal to 12. We're going to find the angles of the triangle. When we're doing this, we're going to round to the nearest tenth as well, so 1 decimal place. So if we want to, let's say, find for angle A, I'm going to use A squared is equal to B squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c cosine A. We said that A is 5, so that's going to be 5 squared. B is 8, so that's 8 squared, plus c squared, which is 12, raise to the second power, minus 2 times b, which is 8, times c, which is 12, cosine A. From here, we're going to simplify the 5 squared, the 8 squared, the 12 squared, and the negative 2 times 8 times 12. So the 5 squared gives us 25, 8 squared is 64, 12 squared is 144. The negative 2 times 8 times 12 gives us a negative 192, and then we have that cosine A. From here, that negative 192 is being multiplied by that cosine A, so you cannot combine that with the 64 and the 144. Add your 64 and your 144. You get 25 is equal to 208 minus 192 cosine A. Solve for angle A here. We're going to subtract the 208 from each side. This leaves us with 25 minus 208 is negative 183 is equal to negative 192 cosine A. From here, we're going to divide each side by the negative 192. They turn to be positive. So this is telling you that cosine A is 183 divided by 192. So to find angle A, we're going to take the inverse of cosine, so that cosine to the power of negative 1 of 183 divided by 192. So in your calculator, type in that second button, then that cosine button that gives you the inverse of cosine. Type in 183 divided by 192, close the parentheses, and you get 17.61243907. We're rounding to the nearest tenth place, so angle A is 17.6 degrees. That's one of the angles that we're looking for. Next, we can use the same method, except use the b squared is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c cosine B to find for angle B. To do that, I'm going to try to keep this up while I do it. Okay, so to find angle B, we said b squared is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c cosine b. Plug in your values. Your b squared is going to be 8 to the second power. A to the second power is 5 to the second power, plus c to the second power, that's 12 to the second power, minus 2 times a, which is 5, times c, which is 12, cosine b. From here, the 8 squared is 64 is equal to 25 plus 144 minus 2 times 5 is 10 times 12 gives us a negative 120 cosine b. From here, add the 25 and the 144. We get 169, so that's 64 is equal to 169 minus 120 cosine b. Subtract the 169 from each side. 64 minus 169 is negative 105. It's equal to negative 120 cosine b. We divide each side by the negative 120. These become positive, so we have cosine b is going to equal 105 over 120. If we're finding angle b, we're going to take the inverse of cosine of 105 over 120. So use your calculator. Inverse cosine 105 divided by 120, close the parentheses. We get the angle B is 28.95502.437. If we're rounding to the nearest tenths place, that 9 is going to go up, so this is going to be 29 degrees. So angle B is 29 degrees. From here, we still need to find angle C. Now, we found angle A and we found angle B. Easiest thing to do to find angle C, a triangle equals 180 minus the sum of the two angles you have already, which is 17.6 and 29. So the 17.6 plus 29 gives us 46.6. So 180 minus 46.6 gives us the angle C of 33.4 degrees. So for all of these, your angle A is 17.6 degrees, angle B is 29 degrees, and angle C is 133.4 degrees. So the next part of your lesson goes over finding the area of a triangle given 3 side lengths. When we find the area of a triangle given 3 side lengths, we are going to use the formula A is equal to the square root of S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. S is equal to 1/2 times the sum of all of your side lengths. So to find S first, you would just take all of your side lengths and add them up and divide it by 2. From there, you're going to take that S and multiply it by that S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. The good thing with this is as long as you find S, you can just plug it all into your calculator and it will simplify it for you. You don't have to do anything else. So if we look at this example, it tells us that a businessman wishes to buy a triangular plot in a busy downtown location. The plot or the lot frontages on 3 adjacent streets that are 125, 280, and 315 feet. It tells us to find the area of the lot. So our 3 side lengths here are 125, 280, and 315. So in order to find S, let's do this. Let's do A as your 125, B is going to be 280, and C is 315. It really doesn't matter which one you use as A, B, and C. They're going to be interchanged constantly. So, in order to first find S, you're going to take 1/2 the sum of A, B, and C. So the sum of all of those side lengths. So S is equal to 125 plus 280 plus 315, all divided by 2. Type it into your calculator and let it tell you what the answer is. So 125 plus 280 plus 315 gives us 720. Divide that by 2, and S is going to be 360. So from here, use your formula. S is 360. Let's put this here. S is 360. Your formula to find the area, we said, is the square root of S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. So, if we write this out, this is what we're going to plug into our calculator. A is equal to the square root of 360 times 360 minus A, we said that was 125, times S minus B, which is 360, minus 280, times 360 minus 315. This is all underneath the square root. From here, plug it into your calculator. Use your calculator. Hit the second button, hit that x squared button. You get 360, parentheses, 360 minus 125, close your parentheses. Make another set of parentheses. 360 minus 280, close the parentheses. Make another set of parentheses. 360 minus 315. Hit your enter button. You get 17,451.64749. We're going to round this again to the nearest tenth. So your area for this plot of land is 17,451.6 feet squared.